G'day everybody on YouTube. This is Lace Out's Round 20 review of another cracking week of football. And that is right, everybody. We are now live every single week on YouTube. So if you can't get us audio, get us on the visual. Look at our gorgeous faces of not just myself, Chris Pepper, the host of Lace Out, the co-host with the most, the looks of this duo, Jamie the J-Dog Wallis, are going to be promoting our video live every single week on our YouTube page. Link will be left in the description. It's just the Lace Out brand, the Lace Out, everything is just going viral, Jamie, and everybody wants a piece of us.
It's definitely true. We are making some changes because it is that time of the year, Peps, and we're starting to, some of the clubs are starting to wind it down and start to do the reviews and make sure what's happening, what's working, what's not working. Is our structures right? Are our structures incorrect? We do the same thing at the Lace Out channel, and we are just starting to look at some of these things we can start to bring in for 2024.
It's exactly right. And the thing with it, though, Jamie, is that if we get it right now before we head into finals, it means that we've really got a solid platform as we move into the preseason for next year and heading into round one as well. Now, what does that mean for the podcast? Absolutely nothing. So if you're listening to us, like I said, on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcast, your favorite smart speaker, we're not going anywhere when it comes to all of that. It just means now that if you want to have a look-ski, you can. And if you just want to have a hear-ski, you can continue listening to, like I said, the number one non-club affiliated podcast this side of the Westgate Bridge. Before we get into it, J-Dog, can I just say, I went and saw Oppenheimer with my family. I'm not too sure if you've seen it. If you have seen it, first time ever, let us know in the comments below. Bit of a nude scene in there. And my young son, Noah, did the old, did the and then it happened again with the beautiful Florence Pugh just sitting in a chair, top of last. And he's done the old, not again. He just cracked up. Absolutely cracking film. Goes for 3 hours, but it is just one of those films you sit back and go, it went for a long time, but it didn't feel like a long time because there's more twists and turns than Mount Panorama with that film as well, too.
Well, Peps, my birthday is coming up, as you know. Is it worth dropping the coin on a bit of gold class for the missus and I to spend 3 hours watching that movie? Is it worth that?
Ooh, it's a big call.
Okay, is it heavy?
It's a bit heavy, but it's a good heavy.
Okay.
It's not a gold classy film. You save those ones for the big visual extravaganzas.
And it's not that.
All right, then you go for it. Just sit back, get your money's worth.
I went and saw Top Gun last year, and that was brilliant.
All right. Go for it. Absolutely go for it. If you've seen it, let us know in the comments what you thought as well, too. Hey, big guy, what a cracking weekend of footy. Like, seriously.
Who for?
It was upsets galore. We're going to get into all of that. And more importantly, if you're on the chat right now, drop us in a few comments what you thought about the week as well, too. But, Jesus Christ, I went to the Richmond game with the Turbo Princess, my daughter Maya, and for probably 2.5 quarters, I was a little bit worried because everyone was losing.
Yeah.
And, geez, Richmond played some really good footy. Dusty was a little bit back to his normal self, but eventually got the win, which we needed considering all three teams above us, being a Melbourne supporter, were falling over. But just it wasn't upsets. It was just the way teams were beaten. We'll go into that at a very high level, but we're going to be spinning magnets as per normal. We've got some massive topics that you're going to be addressing as well, too. We're talking about the Rising Star. We'll get into the ladder very, very shortly as well, too. But it was just, I think it was the weekend that we had to have. Not the recession that we had to have. It was the weekend of footy that we had to have.
A resettler.
Well, I think a recalibration. I would even go as far as. Well, you think about it. How many weeks in a row have we been saying Port, Collingwood, grand final? Or,
Or a combination.
Or Port, Collingwood, Brisbane. That was about it. It was those three teams. After one weekend, started to leave a couple of questions, interestingly enough, about some teams. And not just the top four, but I'm talking about top 8. There's people just clamouring left, right, and centre to get in as well, too. What I wanted to do also as part of this, I wanted to have a look at where the ladder was at round 20 last year and how it finished up, just to sort of maybe prick the mind a little bit. Well, what could happen for this year? Okay.
Okay.
So let's have a look at quickly round 20 after it finished. Top 8 only at the end of round 20 last year. Geelong, Melbourne, Collingwood, Sydney, Brisbane, Fremantle, Carlton, St Kilda. All right. Getting to round 23, end of the year. Geelong, Melbourne, Sydney, Collingwood. Nothing changed there. Fremantle, Brisbane. But then Richmond and the Western Bulldogs came home with their flair of their sails open. Carlton, St Kilda popped out. Okay.
Any chance of you sharing a screen for everyone? Just to have a look.
No, I've read that out of the 2023 season guide because it was important.
Okay.
But I have to put up now the ladder because I think it's quite interesting when you have a look at the ladder. Have a look. For the people watching this on YouTube for the first time, we'll actually put the ladder over our faces. So you're just going to have to just give us a moment as we throw it up because after 6 years of rolling out lace out, we still haven't found a better way to do it. Rightio. So if you have a look at the ladder.
Can I just repeat those teams again in the top 8 last year, around 20?
Yep.
Number 1, Geelong Cats. Number 2, Melbourne. Number 3, Collingwood.
Yep.
Number 4, Sydney.
Yep.
Number 5, Brisbane. Number 6, Freo. 7 is Carlton. And 8 is St Kilda.
Exactly right. Now, let's have a look at this when we look at the ladder for now. All right. Collingwood on top. Had a loss on the weekend to Carlton. Port Adelaide, third loss in a row after winning 13 in a row. Was that correct? Or
correct.
14, Jamie?
Try 13.
Try 13. Brisbane, very susceptible. Melbourne have their win against Richmond and locked themselves in potentially top 4. Then you got St Kilda. GWS have won 7 in a row. Carlton have won 6 in a row. And the Western Bulldogs, even after losing to GWS, maintain their spot in the final 8. Geelong, I think you can count them out. They've got too many injuries, especially the Blitzarves and Hawkins are going to make it very, very difficult, even though they still have a favourable draw at the back end. Sydney, good win on the weekend against Essendon. Richmond, they're still only a game out, but their percentage is fairly average. Adelaide Crows, same thing again. Their percentage is still pretty good, but once again, that win over Port has left them just a game out. You can even go Essendon and Gold Coast, a game out, but percentage-wise. So at the moment, it's down to 14. So there's 6 teams clamouring for those, I would say, last... You'd almost go bottom 4. You'd almost say. I'd almost go as far as... bottom 2. Pick 7 and 8. So Carlton and Western Bulldogs and everyone down to Fremantle. Forget them out. So Fremantle, Hawthorn, North, and West Coast. So last year, it was pretty much locked in, only 2 changes. You could probably see teams such as Adelaide could pinch a spot. They've got a really healthy percentage. Geelong, you can't throw Geelong away even on 38 points because of the fact they play all those games down at GMHBA.
Mm-hmm.
The Swans, just when you think they're out, they might come back in. But I don't know, Jado. What the way you're looking at it, what do you think the mix is going to be?
Oh. It's the only team there that probably have me going in is I think Geelong Cats can still make it. And I just don't see the rest of the teams making it. I don't see Sydney, Richmond, Adelaide, Essendon making it.
So you reckon that's...
I'm Cats in. I'm Cats in. Yep. Western Bulldogs out.
Are you worried about... Actually, I think St Kilda will drop out. If you turn up playing St Kilda first week of the finals, I would say you'd have a bit of a smile on your face, I reckon.
Yeah.
You'd have a smile on your face.
So at the teams that have dropped out of the 8 at this time last year, if we're going to do the ladder comparison there, so the Sydney Swans have dropped from this time last year being 4th, they're now out of the 8.
Yep.
Fremantle Dockers, this time last year they were 6th, now they're bottom 4. Carlton are in, and St Kilda are in. Carlton are in, and St Kilda are in. So 2 teams dropped out of the 8 from last. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and it wasn't as tight with 6 teams literally sitting outside of the 8 clamouring to get in.
No, it wasn't. You're right. It wasn't as tight. Western Bulldogs, who were in 10th this time last year, were on 40 points, and the bottom number 8 was St Kilda, and they were on 44, so they're a whole game out.
Yeah, I reckon there's going to be some further movement happening there.
Okay.
Further movement. I can't make a call because, like I
Oh,
said,
and Cats. Sorry, Cats last year were on top of the ladder this time last year.
No, they might not even make it.
Yeah.
I don't know the last time. I should have got these statistics ready, but I'd love to have known the last time when both grand finalists missed the 8.
1927.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Oh, I actually thought it might have been a bit earlier. I know the Doggies missed the finals in 2017 after winning a grand final. So that was the last team, I think, to do that as well, too. All right, big guy. What do you want to do? Let's spin some magnets really quickly, hey?
Yeah, go through them.
All right, let's go through and let's start with a bit of... let's start with a bit of this.
Free votes.
All right, let's go through some free votes. Now, the votes that we're giving this week, I've actually had a bit of a look at this, and the first one was just upsets galore. It just reinvigorated the league after getting a little bit
same
over the last week. It's great to see. Like, I don't know. I got 4 right, and one of those was a misclick on the app. So if you got any more than 4, I know someone who got 8.
Cheats.
They must be the admin person, because there is no way that you got 8. Either you don't know much about football, or you've got something where you just said, "Give me random teams," because it was the Collingwood game. I got that. The Fremantle down at Geelong, no one saw that one coming. Sydney versus Essendon, I thought that was a fitty. But it was just like some of these results, I have no idea. I even picked North to beat West Coast. That's how bad it got. So it was just good to see surprises all across the board. Great to see the squirrel grip back, buddy. Good to see the old tiding of the agates, the old squizzle grip back. Miller on Zorko. Zorko had another bit of a whinge because that's what he's best known for, having another bit of a sook. But geez, the way that Miller took on Neil, destroyed him. He said, "Why stop at one? I'm going to have it 2 balls." He went for Zorks, gave him the old twisty wristy. He came out with a bit of bruising. Too bad, too sad. Loved it, absolutely loved it, and that is a rivalry that's been blowing out for the last couple of seasons as well too. So we like it. I'm going to leave you with that one in just a moment. Gary Ablett Jr. and his wife Jordan had their 3rd child, so a son.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yet to be named. Joins son Levi and daughter Grace. Now the Geelong list managers are just celebrating right now. Another father-son joining the group because they haven't had as many over the last 20 odd years as well too. So the Geelong faithful are absolutely fanging for that one. And last but not least, did you see Toby Green's hanger against the Bulldogs?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Just I love it. There's nothing better than just a hanger. Just hangers, foot in the back. But this was height. He had height. It was in the hands. It was
Did you see Toby Green miss a goal from 5 metres out? With three other GWS players in the goal square.
Don't really care. He still kicked 5, didn't he?
Kicked 5.
He still kicked 5.
Kicked that mini bag. Almost bag.
No. Handful, J-Dog.
Handful, sorry.
Handful. All right.
Haley off, Ellingworth on. Bloody weakest piss.
Now, I'm only going with one right here. And the only one I'm going with here is just Buddy Franklin retiring. I'm Buddy shattered.
You're Buddy shattered?
I'm Buddy shattered that he's finished up. Because the future Hall of Famer should not have his career end this way.
Okay.
Nah, it's just going out with an injury. You would have just loved to have been able to get that. Like, at the moment, too many people are getting lined up for, a round of applause. Good job, young man. Looks like a participation medal that they've been giving out. Participation chairlifts, I'd go as far, Jamie.
Right.
But for the first time, I think this guy should have had the opportunity to finish up, getting the adulation that he deserved. I just think, you got to look at this guy, right? He's going to finish his career as the 4th leading goal kicker in AFL, VFL history. All right. And that's only behind Lockett, Coventry, and Dunstall. 19 seasons. He played in the 2008 Premiership, and also he played in the 2012 Premiership. 13 Premiership. Sorry, I got that wrong. Okay. He kicked an absolute truckload at Hawthorn. Kicked a truckload at Sydney. Like, the guy is just an absolute freakazoid.
Unpopular opinion.
Hot wife. That's the other thing I'm going to miss.
Unpopular opinion.
Jacinta Franklin's Brownlow dresses. That's another thing I'm going to miss.
Here's my opinion.
Yep.
2 to 3 seasons too long.
I don't disagree with you on that one.
I think
I reckon 1 season too long. I reckon this year probably, but you know what? He had the 10-year contract. This was the last year of the contract.
Too long.
So, yeah.
I don't want to see players like that end like that.
These last month of footy hasn't been too bad, but he was just old. And the talk of him going on another year was really frustrating as well too. So
yeah,
he had 2 flags. Like I said,
eight
all Australians,
4 Colemans,
2 flags.
Yeah, done enough.
He never won a coach's award. I got 3. So am I the GOAT?
I think you might be.
You never know. We might have to get into that a little bit later on. Look, that's the only one that I'm looking at is just Buddy Franklin. He's going to go down as just one of the most exciting. Do you have a favorite Buddy moment, J-Dog?
Yes, comfortably.
What is it?
I don't know who it was. I don't know what it was. Taking the ball in the centre square, jumping over a player, and kicking the ball from about 65, 70 out, and it just going through. Beautiful.
I know the one you're talking about.
There's 2. Isn't there 2 Buddy highlights that people always talk about? That's one of them.
There's one.
The other one is the other one you're probably going to talk about.
It's round 13 of the 2010 season. And Cale Hooker. Like, you know when players were young and you'd go up when NBA players or footy players, I'm going to put you on a footy card. Like, that's only 1 year. Like, once that's on that card, that's it. Cale Hooker should have shares in YouTube. For the amount of time that chase has been, like, that just gets funnier and funnier every time that you see it.
It's a great goal.
It's a great goal, but players that big shouldn't be able to do that. Full stop. No. I think the other one that I'll have to go with, and we could talk about the 13, we could talk about the 1,000th goal, but I was there to see Buddy take control of the 2011 prelim. And even though they didn't go on to win the game, like, he kicked an absolute fizzer from the boundary line. Like, no one saw it coming. Collingwood coming home with their head, coming home with their sails open, just grabbing everything, and he's come along and he's just sliced this one from the boundary, and you just sat back and went, "Oh, this guy's a freak," and he's just going to go down as one of the best. Yeah, he probably gone on a season or two too long, but who cares? Because he's going to go out as the last 1,000 goal kicker. No one is going to kick.
It won't happen again.
It'll never happen again. So if you haven't seen it, watch it. You'll see there's a lady standing in front of the camera when the view of that 1,000th goal was taken. They should have reserved the seats. But yeah, we're going to miss him, and that's the only drag because we're not going to see the greatness ever again.
Can I have a question without notice and a question without researching, please?
Yep.
Gut feel.
Yep.
Listeners, the same. Leave a comment if please let us know. Who was the better Buddy, Sydney or Hawthorn Buddy? Gut feel.
I'd say Hawthorn.
Yep.
I agree. He was the better Buddy because if you have a look at the majority of his highlights, that's where they came from. But I will say, though, if you have a look at his career, there's only around about, I think it's about 80 games difference from what he played at Hawthorn to what he played at Sydney. And there's only about 110 goals. So he almost split it 50-50.
Okay.
But he kicked the 1,000th at the Swans.
No.
He brought people into the ground up there in Sydney. Like, you went to watch Buddy at the SCG. It was just, people loved it. And who can forget 13-13? Yes, that's never going to happen. So I reckon it's a tale of two careers, a bit like the Ablett career as well too. He was a gun at Geelong, but really solidified it up there at Gold Coast as well too.
Yeah, no, I'm a Hawks buddy all the way. I just remember just literally sitting back on the couch as a young bloke, just absolutely blown away by what he was doing.
And
like,
that year,
Making them look stupid.
In 2008, where he kicked a ton, and then Clarkson didn't let Fev kick a ton in the same game. Rick. That's something special. I remember because my wife was almost going into labour about a month later. We just sat back watching that game. It was absolutely sensational. But to Buddy Frankin, hats off to you, my friend. You are surely going to be missed. And it's funny, on the chat right now, everything's coming in, the Hawthorn version, but he did well at Sydney as well too. So, all right, J-Dog, what would you like, mate? It's up to you right now. Would you want to...
Let's talk some games. Let's just go through the games.
Okay. Well, so you telling me now it's time for the...
Scoreboard! I am.
Yep. All right. Let's have a look at the scoreboard. All right. Let's whip through some of these games because they were absolute corkers when it came. All right. Carlton Collingwood on the Friday night. Did you see this one happening at all?
I had an inkling by what they did to us the week before. Oh, sorry, 2 weeks ago, Carlton, and they've got their mojo.
Yeah.
Got their mojo back. So I had an inkling.
Well, we were saying that it was time for him to go. It was time to get rid of Voss. Nothing was going to work. Yeah, absolutely nothing. But geez, they pantsed him. Pantsed him at the end. I think 17 points was the winning margin, but Collingwood looked second rate. Really second rate. And the 3 losses they've had this year, the opposition. You know when we had last week's episode, we said the things that you need to do to beat Collingwood?
I did.
How many of those are actually correct?
Oh, they're all correct.
What was it? Put the pressure on the ball carrier. Stop the run of the halfback flankers.
Yeah.
Pressure. And someone tagged Nick Dacos. Well, they literally went and did that. And moved the ball quick. What did we say? Go over the top?
Yes.
How many times do you see them out the back? Owies was just like, did he smell or something? No one was on him for a 15-minute period. I think it might have been in the second quarter. No one was near him. He was just going all over the top. He's like, hello, ladies, dinner's on.
Doesn't hurt when you also have a just shy of 200 centimetre forward who actually is now just connecting everything.
Well, I'll tell you what. Like, can I do it now? Bags. We love it when they're kicking. Bags. It's got to be 6 or more. It had to be 6 or more because he kicked 6 of the best, Charlie Curnow. And someone said on the radio today, there is no better person to watch in full flight than Charlie Curnow. I reckon they're right. I love a good midfielder toweling it up. I love a good backman making people look like a fool. I love a good ruckman dominating around the ground. But when a forward is on, there is nothing sexier.
Charlie Curnow full flight.
Oh,
that's a good night.
He's a sexy beast too.
Same as Jeremy Cameron. Same as Bontempelli.
Oh, same as somebody else we're going to get into in a minute. But yeah, he had 6. Martin had 3. And I thought their small forwards had a lot of pressure around them as well too, which was nice. Putting a lot of pressure on the Collingwood backline. They didn't really know what to do. They planned for the dump kick. Collingwood loved the dump kick out of the backline. They always had someone floating around towards probably 70, 80 metres out, but then to rebound it straight back in too. So they planned, and they're playing good footy. And, you know, in a couple of weeks' time, they play Melbourne. It's going to be interesting to sort of see where that game goes as well too. They play St Kilda this week.
6 in a row for Carlton now?
6 in a row? Where I think they're the only team that have gone, I think it was 6, 7, and then 6. It was a strange sort of combination that a team has lost 7 in a row, but also won 6 in a row in the same season.
And knocked over number 2 and number 1 in the last 3 weeks. Pretty good.
Absolutely sensational. So they're pretty good. Look, I don't know where Collingwood, I think it gave everybody a little bit of hope that they aren't, and they had a full contingent as well. Don't think that they were undermanned or anything on those lines. They just got beaten.
Yeah.
Reality check there, Collingwood supporters. Isn't there nothing better when you don't hear Collingwood? Look, and when they were going to Carlton by the end of the game, nothing better. Absolutely nothing better.
Anyway, they've lost the game. I think they're still the clubhouse leader.
Yeah, they're still the clubhouse leader, but I don't think they're the super clubhouse leader.
Okay. All right. Next game.
Fremantle versus Geelong.
Didn't see it coming.
Didn't see it coming.
Fremantle, put my hands up. Did say it.
No reason to win this. They've been putrid for probably the whole season.
Yep.
Geelong, they did lose Blitzarves. They did lose Hawkins. I know that's two of their big guns. But they had no right to win this Fremantle.
Oh.
Absolutely not.
I am 100%. I think all of football was 100% Freo on this game. No one was against Freo except for the Cattery fans and Cat supporters. And loved it. I love a bit of Saturday Cattery bashing.
Isn't it interesting when you have a look at who took the coaches' votes? It was Alex Pearce.
Oh, did you? That was one of the...
Tom Stewart. Back
Yeah.
So it must have been just pinging back and forth, up and down, up and down, up and down, and then just for them to do what they did. Luke Jackson getting in there as well too. And the two that we've been speaking about, Andrew Brayshaw, we know what he can do, but I think he's becoming a favourite of this podcast. Caleb Sarong.
Big fan of Sarong.
Oh,
Yep.
we're big fans of Sarong here.
But I'm a big fan of BB though.
Big Ben Brown.
No.
Who?
Better Brayshaw. Better BB.
You prick. No, they just made Collingwood look second rate.
You could not kick the ball in the forward line without Alex Pearce having a touch on that ball somehow.
So they had 50. So they had 28 inside 50. Sorry, 52 inside 50s. How many did Alex Pearce mark?
He probably marked 104. It literally felt like every time the ball went in that last quarter and a half, it was just Alex Pearce.
Was it like you know when you're a kid and you get those footies on like in a piece of elastic, and when you kick it, it comes back to you. It was a bit like him. Like every time it just went down, it was the magic bullet.
It was unbelievable.
Oh, but it was good too. But like Ronnie Corbett had two. Schultz, I love what Schultz brings every single week as well too, man. Like he's just. I don't think he gets enough credit over here in the Eastern States. I think as a small forward, he'd be going around as one of the best. He's pressure. He's got balls. He has a crack. Just love it.
Yeah, it was a good game. It was a good game of football, and I feel sorry for every Geelong supporter down there watching the game because they had to sit there through a Saturday arvo sun. Those guys in the wing wouldn't be able to see a thing because the ground is the wrong direction.
Oh, it's the same people who built Marvel. But instead of knocking the joint down and building it properly, the pork barrel park is what they call it. And they're going to probably have something else done to it. So
just make it another 14 levels higher, and it blocks the sun then. That's perfect.
Load the joint up, I reckon. Hey, Western Bulldogs versus GWS. Huh. Put your hands up. I didn't see this one coming either. I thought Western Bulldogs, they had to win this. Like, the Doggies had to win this because they were only going to be then a game behind Melbourne, and anything could happen in the back. They've just let another one slip. And I know the Jungle Drums are beaten for Bevo. We've spoken about this for quite a while as well, too.
Oh, they cooked it.
They've cooked it. Sniff test at the moment, Jamie? Something ain't right.
With the Western Bulldogs?
Something's not right.
How long have we been on the show for now?
6 years.
I think we've been saying that for the last 2 years.
Probably.
They just keep falling down in moments where you just think they shouldn't be. This game here, I had them penciled. Not, I had them penned in for a win.
I had it penciled in, and you know what?
It's a kicking. It's just a kicking again.
But it's not that. If Bont doesn't fire, let's be honest. If Bont doesn't fire,
yeah,
all right, they're nothing. And Ugle-Hagan as well too. If those two don't fire, Norton isn't reliable. Why don't they put him down back? Like, that's the strangest thing I don't understand. They don't throw the magnets around at all. Libba, great game again. Bailey Dale, good again. But it was my love child, Toby Green, just dominating again. Like, he's got to be All-Australian captain this year if it's not for Bont.
Yeah.
Like, he's kicked 5 again, Jamie. Like, when we talk about goats, small forward goats, by the end of his career, he could be up there. I don't think there's been many people in the last 5 years that turn as many games on as he does.
No, that's true. That's 100% true.
Yep. They're playing their back line solid, their forward line solid. Riccardi kicked 3. Remember we spoke about him, I reckon, last year, saying that, where's he gone? What's happened to him? Started like great balls of fire.
Yep.
He's back. So Adam Kingsley has brought spunk back to this mob, and they're not an easy team to play. So they are the orange tsunami, I reckon, is starting to get its second wave.
Yeah, you're starting to see those players that really, as you said, had that low patch, like Lockie Whitfield, Kieran Briggs, Cogs, Josh Kelly, Toby Green's always been consistent, but some of those older people are now starting to be a bit more consistent for the GWS. But it's not just like Western Bulldogs players had shockers. Like, you still had Tim English, Bailey Dale, Adam Treloar, Libba, and McRae still get high possessions. I just think they just butchered it going forward, where GWS were just that slight more accurate, but in the fourth quarter they just overran them.
And Sam Taylor, it's a freak.
Yeah.
Absolute freak. Love it. Absolutely love it. All right. We spoke about that one. We spoke about this team. I know you have a bit of a fascination with them for the lack of their success, but Gold Coast, they didn't beat Brisbane, smashed them. Smashed them, and by the tune of 41 points. And I know a week ago we're going, what are we going to do with this guy? What are we going to do with this guy? Do we put him down back? Do we drop him? What are we going to do? Comes out kick 5. We've got no idea about football at times, and I don't think anybody else has. And apparently what he said was, listen, you're struggling to find the ball. So this is what I'm going to get you to do. Just follow Harris Andrews around. He will lead you to the ball. And he goes and does that. He had 3 by quarter time.
Let's just say that the Gold Coast coach, Stephen King, it was a horror show for the Brisbane Lions. Where's my little? Ba-boom.
Can you say that again?
Stephen King.
Yep.
Are you literate?
Oh,
I don't know.
Lion King. Are you?
No.
I got it. I'll do another one.
No, you didn't get it. I don't think you got the joke. The novelist? No, okay, don't worry about it.
Doesn't matter.
I thought you were privately educated, Peps.
I was, but
okay, all right, don't worry about it. I'm not going to say it again. You can watch it back on YouTube if you want to see the joke.
By the way, everybody who's
shit one.
listening to us for maybe the first or second, this is not the Mensa podcast. I just want to clarify that this is no Mensa accredited people at all.
But as you said, Gold Coast: Anderson, Rao, Flanders, Swallow, and Ainsworth. Not bad. And I think someone was saying Dave Swallow probably they should be looking at hang up the boots this year. Not with a game like that.
Well, is he the GOAT? Is he potentially at the moment the GOAT of Gold Coast?
Let's calm down.
No, but what I'm saying is he's going to have his whole career at Gold Coast. He's been there literally from day dot. Not many people can actually say that.
Very handsome.
Well, he's that start. It's that Gold Coast sun. Just makes you look amazing. But Miller, like ever since he's come back, he's just sort of changed his game up a little bit. He's gone back to his almost tagging days. Love it. Absolutely love it.
And Gold Coast supporters, Rowell and Anderson, the two boys who decided to make a pact and stay together.
Yep. That
would be very, very encouraging to
and they've got 3 academy players, and apparently 2 of them would be almost top 2 in the draft this year that they're trying to get points for as well too. So whoever takes over, from Stephen King, you have got the keys to the city.
Yep. And when Hardwick comes across, he'll be very excited. He gets to reunite with Brandon Ellis.
And more importantly, Brisbane Apu, they can't. The Ashcroft factor just means that somebody has to fit. Remember we spoke about this? Someone has to fill into the shoes, and it sort of disrupts everything. They're susceptible down back. They're a bit one-dimensional. And it just goes to show that if Danaher doesn't fire, it's very, very hard for them to score as well too. I know that they go in streams when they do score, but I will say that when Danaher doesn't really fire, I've got a feeling they don't fire. Like Charlie Cameron was only their multiple goal kicker too.
I don't know, and this is the Danaher paradox that people face with. Like 3 behind, and I think maybe 1 on the full as well. Still marking him, still somewhat effective. He had 15 kicks, how many marks, something like that, 7.
That's the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde that you get with him.
And it's the same with Hipwood as well. 1 goal, 3 behinds.
Yeah, but Hipwood's a poor man's Ben King.
Well, Ben King's not. Okay.
Leave bonking out of it. Alrighty. Essendon versus Sydney, a 2-point win to the Swans. I must admit, I did pick this one. I just think that without it's not the package because he's just been returned to send up, but without Draper, they haven't been the same since.
I'm feeling your pain, Bombers fans. I'm feeling your pain.
Why would you be feeling their pain for?
Oh, this is going down. Could potentially be. I think I heard someone say on the Dwayne show.
Oh, don't get me started with that guy.
Hope is what kills you. And I think Essendon supporters are going through that right now. There is so much hope there, and you see the glimpses of what Brad Scott is bringing. Yeah. And to just have that,
But I think on the same show, someone said there's no D in regards to defence in
That was
Essendon.
Montagna on first take, yeah.
I don't care who it was, but it was like there is no defence. They run one way, but they don't go the other way, and teams just score two easily on them. Can I say, though, if there was an all-Australian bench spot,
Yeah.
I'll put him in the squad, is Kyle Langford.
Okay.
Just with his statistics and what he's done over the course of the year, and I think I've spoken about this over a number of weeks, is that he hadn't kicked many goals over his entire career up until this year. He's kicked another 5 on the weekend, Jamie.
Yeah, that's a good return.
He's just Mr. Reliable at the moment. Like he's never had this before. So this is his 9th year at Essendon, and up until then, his goal kicking, I think, is he's kicked 117 goals for his entire career. 77 of those were in the first 8 years, and he's kicked 40 this year.
Yeah, it's a great return with 3 games still to go.
Exactly. So he could top the 50.
Yeah, and that's a great return.
Not many people are going to be able to do that outside of a key forward. So to come in and do what he's been doing,
That would have him comfortably in top 5 for Coleman as well. If
Yeah,
he
it would
gets if
be.
he gets to that,
Hey,
yeah.
You know what's happening? Incentive. Yeah. You know what happens when the cash comes?
Here comes the money.
Here we go.
Contracts, baby. What's he get?
Alrighty, we're going to talk about the next game. I don't want to.
Oh, we're going to. Adelaide versus Port Adelaide. They destroyed you. I didn't even pick them. I thought after what's his name went out, Rankin the week before with the hammy, I thought you got absolutely no chance of winning that one. And you did.
Yeah, just got blown away.
Yeah, you got blown away by Bags Walker. Could you believe this guy has the potential to win the Coleman medal?
At 33, 34, however old he is.
Question for the listeners, question for the viewers, been wanting to say that all episode. Write in the comments. Have you ever seen a full forward who kicks equally as well on both feet from 50?
Yeah. In the modern game.
In the
No.
modern game, most people can't even kick with one foot. He is sublime off both feet. He did it against Melbourne last week. He had a shot from the middle of the ground on his left, and I thought he was a left footer. And then about 5 minutes later, he did the same thing from 35, but on the right. Oh, he's just a beast. He's actually getting better, and I never thought I'd say that.
Full flight.
But it just goes to show how important Rory Laird is to that group as well, too. I think that was the missing factor the week before. But Dawson, All-Australian season, Ward will probably sneak in for the 40, potentially get in there as well, too. I think the injury hasn't helped. But, yeah, Port, when your highest goal scorer... Are you worried about your forward line, Jamie, or your ruck stocks, or are you starting to get a bit of concern?
I am concerned, and I'm concerned on a couple of points. First off, I want to just have a check-in with you. Is this how Melbourne felt last year? Everything up to the bye was sensational. Everything after the bye just seems to be unraveling.
We couldn't run out games. That was Melbourne's issue. Okay, so we couldn't run out games. I think we had a lot of players that were injured towards the back end, and we just couldn't finish them off. We were just up and down.
Yeah.
The good thing is that we banked wins at the start of the year. So that's exactly what you did. You banked your wins.
Correct.
But I start to see a bit of fatigue kicking in.
Yeah.
And it's happening to the wrong players. So as an example, Dixon,
Lyset.
Lyset. Now, I don't know who your ruckman is, but you go and put him up against a Gorn, or you go and put that up against a Darcy Cameron or a Oscar McInerney, you're going to find it really, really hard.
Well, we're starting to see that. So there's concern there. First off, is rucks is a concern for us. The second concern is we've seemed to have stopped the play that was making us so exciting in the first half of the season. One of them was, and you saw this, the run from the halfback has just dried up. Our forward 50s has just completely changed in what it was. So we've gone from looking for the short kick on the angle to now bombing it in from anywhere inside 50 and just hoping for someone to have a mark. So we've almost gone back to the old chaos high ball, and that just makes us susceptible, and that's just not the way we play well. Our Bucks. Our backs are doing an amazing job considering how fast that ball's coming back. So we used to be a slingshot team. We've just lost it. We've literally lost the game plan.
You know, the thing that really concerns me about your mob at the moment is folk, wines.
Yeah.
When I say this, you mean the plotters.
Yeah.
Okay, they're going to get found out at this end of the year, because when you're a plotter, but the team's going okay, you sort of can cover it up a little bit. But if you're a bit of a plotter, the team's not going well, and you're not 100% either, it really stands out.
That's where we're
So I'd be worried, but
for us, I think we shut up, Charlie.
Charlie,
For us, we need a top 2 spot.
Yep. You need top 2, and the way it's going, I don't know if you're going to get Zach Hinkley's come in there as well too. Look, we're not going to do.
We're going to calm down on the Hinkley.
Now, I have to ask one thing out of this game as well too. So
yes.
Adelaide were sensational, keeping their chance for a final spot in.
Correct.
Yours was clinging top 4.
Mm-hmm.
The clash of heads.
Oh yeah. I think there's probably something the AFL want to have a look at. I think based on everything we've seen this year, there is absolutely a need for them to look at that.
Yep.
I thought, hand on heart, I thought both were out. I'm not going to lie. As a supporter, when I saw them both run back on, I was very surprised.
So when I saw Aaliyah come back on, I went, "Oh, he's okay." But to realise that was only a 6.5 to 7 minutes.
Yeah.
That was he did look all right. I will say that though. But as I would say, the optics of it.
Well, he come back today with a PET scan showing he's got concussion. So
he has.
Yeah. So that's.
Well, someone said this is the interesting thing, that he went on not because of concussion, but a migraine.
Mm. Yeah, it won't be good. It won't be a good look if they both play this week. It'll be a crap look.
Again. Hey, Hawthorn were defeated by St Kilda, but can you believe it again? It was another. Bags. All right, there was another bags by Luke Bruce. Like, he just keeps getting older. Like, we're going to have a conversation in a moment about something, and he's going to be fitting into this as well too. But hey, they were sensational. But St Kilda, I think this is St Kilda that we need. And I've got a big fan. I'm starting to get a bit of a liking to Wanganeen Malera. He's got better. He's probably his best year so far, but he's really taken those steps to sit himself into that midfield. I'm loving what he's bringing at the moment. But Sinclair and Crouch, awesome as well too. Potential for Zach Jones. He had a bit of a knee knock as well too, so we're not too sure what's going to happen with that. Butler had 4, Crouch had 3, Sharman 2, Higgins 2, Calamite. It was the win that they had to have, and Hawthorn just got blown away. I think it was 9 goals to none or 9 goals to 1 at quarter time.
At the start, yeah, they just literally didn't touch the ball.
Yeah. So if Buzz was here, I'd say shit, Kilda is back to St Kilda. And funny enough, can you still believe that they're in the 8? And I think they're 5th.
Yeah.
No, they're not 5th. We've had a ladder up earlier today, and I've totally forgot about it. Unbelievable. It's but Charlie Keegan has also said you use an MRI, even a CT.
Yeah, I think it's a scat. I think it's a scat scan or a HIA assessment or something.
Yeah, that was that's the first one that they do, but apparently it's a questionnaire.
Yeah, scat. Oh yeah, I said I wasn't too sure on the terminology, like scat maybe or PET or I didn't know. Yes. Yeah,
I think I'm about to set a record ever for this next part, because Melbourne defeated Richmond by 32 points. D's played great footy. It was actually a really good game to watch live. Not much going backwards in terms of football motion. A lot of it was going out the front of the stoppages rather than out the back. Dusty Martin was tearing us a new one halfway through that second quarter. It's like, how far? But then they settled, and I did not see this one at all, J-Dog.
Peps, 50-point avalanche.
It was another bags to Harrison Petty.
Of all people.
Can I say something though, J-Dog? He was clunking everything. And here's the kicker. He kicked 6, Van Rooyen kicked 4, Melksham kicked 4, no points.
Yeah, it's a clean score.
It was a clean skin. It was. Yeah.
Yeah, Melksham, Van Rooyen, and Harrison Petty, all majors, no misses.
Gorn was. There's 4 games left. If Gorney has another 4 games like he's had in the past month, He'd have to be All-Australian ruckman, wouldn't he?
When they just pick a ruckman who
Don't
doesn't that.
start. He's a freak. He turned that game on the weekend. And Jack
Peps.
Manning was a machine. But
I don't know. You're on here talking about the show.
They were really good for 3 quarters, but Melbourne just overran them in the end.
Peps, we need to. I'll never expose our private conversations, but we need to have a talk about, as a supporter, what kind of supporter you were during the middle of the year versus what kind of supporter I was of you for Melbourne.
What do you mean?
When I was saying, Peps, it's not over. It's okay.
Oh.
You're still fourth position. You're not going to drop out of the 8. And you're like,
mate.
Jamie, we're done. We're done.
You speak to any Melbourne supporter. I know Tori's on here, and she's an absolute superstar, and she'll say, yes, I agree. About 4 weeks ago, when we were losing, we weren't kicking scores, we doing everything we possibly can to lose games. The faith was going out the window.
Not me,
It
Peps.
made the heart. I did well because you don't barrack for us. Yep. So, yep. I was actually saying, get rid of Goody, get rid of this, get rid of that.
Yep.
Very, very frustrating. Very, very frustrating. Now, Goodwin's a legend, coaching genius. All right, last game of the weekend, we saw this one: West Coast versus North Melbourne. Oh, it was a cracker. This one, it got down to 5 points. Curtis kicked 4, Cripps had 2. Kelly, Hunt, and Williams. Hey, tell you what, Jaden Hunt, since he's been going over to West Coast, has been probably one of the shining lights for them as well. But Davies Uniacke, the Cheezel, Curtis, they couldn't really do anything wrong. It was great to see West Coast get a win. Do you reckon North could lose 15% in the next 4 weeks, as someone said on I think it was a footy show or radio?
No, but this game was actually a hell of a lot better than the North Melbourne Hawthorn game 2 weeks ago.
Oh, that was shocking.
It's actually enjoyable game to watch.
Yeah, and the North tank is on. I don't think they're going to be able to drop 15%, considering that West Coast have an absolute nightmare this weekend as well too, when you see who they're playing too. So that's this week, the round 20.
Scoreboard!
Now I want to hand it over to Jamie the J-Dog Wallis, because he has this week's massive talking point. Apparently it has something to do with farm animals. Is that right, J-Dog?
It is. Perhaps, once again, it's the unnamed segment.
Well,
So
a name for this segment.
put in the comments.
Chat. Leave it in the comments down below. We need a name for this segment. Go for it, big boy.
All right. So, Conversation Corner with Peps and Jamie is on the back of Buddy retiring, Peps. I want to discuss what makes a GOAT. Do we define a GOAT by individual accolades? Or do we define a GOAT as to what type of position and what type of player they were in that position?
Yep.
So we know Buddy is retiring with 2, 8 and 4, 2 premierships, 8 All-Australians, 4 Colemans, all the other way around. I can't remember the stats now. Anyway, so is Buddy the best half-forward in the game that we've ever seen that makes him the GOAT? Or is he the best half-forward in the game we've seen because he's got all of those individual accolades? How do you define a GOAT?
Oh, shit. We were stewing over this, trying to figure out what is a GOAT. So it's greatest of all time. We know that's what the GOAT stands for. My issue is okay, here's the question. Who's the greatest full forward ever? In your eyes?
Gary Ablett.
Okay. Mine is Tony Lockett.
Mm-hmm.
No flags between them.
No.
But for someone to say that you're the GOAT is that you have to have premierships behind you, which I find interesting because it's a team game. If it's an individual sport, so be it. Tiger Woods, GOAT. Djokovic, I know he's got the most titles, but would you call him the GOAT? I don't know. I still think Federer is.
Well, then here's my next question.
Yeah.
And of course I bounce things off my wife when I talk about these sort of things.
That.
She said, Jamie, what about Simone Biles in gymnastics? Arguably the biggest GOAT there is in that sport, not because she has got the most medals, but because she can dominate the floor, the rings, the poles, the whole floor, the whole routine. Because she is the best at all of those, that's why she's the GOAT, not just because of the medals. And I was like, so are we looking for the most rounded player as the GOAT?
All right. I reckon Buddy has been the best hybrid forward.
Okay.
Okay. Because he didn't really...
So is there a hybrid GOAT now?
Well, I just think from his perspective, like he and it's also the way the game is played too. Like we were talking about how Buddy just played at Hawthorn and then played at the Swans. The game changed considerably in that time as well too, where a lot of it was zone defense, then it went to team defense, to a lot of flooding, etc. 666 and those sort of things as well too. You change it all up. But
Yeah.
him and Gary Ablett, I would say, are the two best hybrid forwards. Because you got to look, Gary Ablett was kicking bags of 8, 9 from the wing.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, and he only went down to full forward later on his career.
Yeah.
Buddy, yes, was predominantly a full forward, but he would be kicking goals off boundaries, from center of the square, etc. Like he would be getting the ball further up the ground and bombing it long as well too. And so it just depends on how you look at it. And I think with a game like football, because there's so many different positions and types of players, it makes this conversation harder than it would be. I think in the older days where lines were pretty much nailed, like a fullback would never be up at the half forward line. A full forward would never be down the other end of the ground as part of the team defense. So you could separate the roles. But I don't think now. I think now you're looking at backmen in general. I think you're looking at forwards in general. And I think you're looking at midfielders. Max Gawn, Gun Ruckman. But the way he plays is not just tap the ball and that's it. He had 29 possessions, I think, on the weekend. Tim English does the same sort of thing too. Luke Jackson's probably that next level of hybrid ruckman, when he comes out. So when you say the GOAT, you have to be really, really, really good at your area of expertise.
How many GOATs can we have? Because if you're talking about an area of expertise, then there should only be really 18 GOATs, or are there 22 GOATs?
I think there's 22 GOATs. Like if you've got an all-round Hall of Fame team, you can have Hall of Fame spots for everyone, and I think you can do that. I do
because they do the 100 players, but who are the true GOATs?
I think the true GOATs are you have to do things that no one has seen be done. Plugger, perfect example. No one will see anybody kick 17 goals straight like Plugger did.
Yeah.
16 straight. Never happen again. We can't even get people to kick 2 goals straight. 16 in a row. You are not going to see full backs would be the interesting one to try and find backman. But
who is your like
Gavin Wanganeen? Gavin Wanganeen would probably be one of my all times.
Yeah, midfield GOATs.
Midfield GOATs.
That is hard.
Well, you got to have a look at midfielders that like literally made you walk through the door to watch them.
Yeah.
In my eyes, looking at it now, Gary Ablett Jr. When Judd was in Judd-like, no one would get near when he was in his prime as well too.
Cousins, Dusty.
Perfect example. Dusty, lock him in regardless.
Because the accolades and the player he was?
Yep. But then you've also got to look at players that, like, were Greg Williams, perfect example. Like, he was just such an accumulator of the ball. He could kick goals. He kicked 5 in a flag when Carlton won in 95. Like, you look back and go, he's won 2 Brownlows, a Norm Smith. Like, not many people have been able to do that.
Yeah, it's interesting because I'm just thinking like there's obviously a recency bias with us because we talk about the last 6, 7 years, 10 years. But yeah, I just think the GOAT conversation is interesting because I just want to know what do we define a GOAT as your individual accolades, or are they the best player for that position?
Okay. So do you have to play a minimum amount of games? That's the first question I'd say.
Well, these are things.
What do you reckon?
I think yes, 100 has to be
100
minimum.
games, all right? So you're saying 100 games.
Yep, lock me in.
So if you haven't played 100 games, you can't be a GOAT.
Yep.
So what you're telling me now, Jamie, is that
4 seasons.
So that knocks out John Coleman, who the Coleman Medal is named after, because he only played 98 games. But in those 98 games, kicked 537 goals.
There we go.
So you see what I mean?
It's
Like,
hard.
It is tough to be able to put that in. Is Sav Rocca one of the GOATs?
I would go no, personally, but he was X Factor.
But here's the thing with Sav Rocca. I don't think he's a GOAT. But how is he the only player in the top 20 goal kickers of all time to not be in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
That's the thing as well, too. I'll throw another one at you. The one that I hear a lot of the time, and I've said this to you a little bit earlier tonight, is Stephen Milne versus Cyril Rioli. So if I said who's the GOAT out of those two, who would you pick?
I would go Cyril.
You'd go Cyril. Okay. But here's the issue with that one there, though, is that if you have a look at the averages, Milne kicked more.
Yep.
And so he dominated over the years, kicked more goals, had more average, more games, more goals, and a better average. But because he didn't win flags like Cyril did, he doesn't get in that conversation.
I know, Peps. There's injustices everywhere.
Yep. And you're right, though. I think it also depends on the era. I'm a Michael Jordan guy. Find me a LeBron guy. They'll compare, LeBron's got the highest. Well, yeah, but no one shot threes when Jordan played.
Yeah.
It was more of a physical game. So do you have to say separate, like, GOATs every 25 years? And I think that's probably a good mark, 25 years.
Listeners and watchers, leave a comment below on who you believe are the GOATs.
Yep. Who do you think is a GOAT? So who's your GOAT? If you could have, and I'd love to hear this in the chats, okay? Who are your GOATs? Now, when I say GOATs, list me 4 players. A backman, a midfielder, a forward, and another, like a utility. So it can be any player in it. But I need to have a forward. I need to have a forward, mid, and a backman. And then add a 4th one in there as well, too. Because I reckon, like Wayne Carey, perfect example. He's the duck. He's the king.
Yeah.
Is he the GOAT?
Lots of good players across that half forward line.
Buffett had 2 more flags than him. And we could go Gary Ablett. You mentioned Gary Ablett. Never won a flag. Lost 4 grand finals, J-Dog.
Mm-hmm.
So the premierships define it. Listen, you could say that I'm a GOAT. I never won a premiership. 377 games for East Keeler Football Club. Never won a flag. Got 3 coaches awards, though. Am I a GOAT?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just a fascinating conversation when you actually think, God, how many GOATs can we actually have?
Yep.
Is everyone a GOAT?
Yep.
Is everyone who wins a premiership a GOAT? Like what are the rules?
I don't think if you win a premiership, you're an instant GOAT. No way.
I don't
Can I
know.
throw one in? And James Jordan didn't even get on the field, and he's a premiership player for Melbourne.
Yeah.
I'm not disrespecting him, but I'm just saying that just throws it up as well too. So you have a look at this. Rue Boy's coming in with, Rue Boy's coming in with Silvani full back, full forward, Tony Lockett. He's got Wayne Carey in there as well too. But once again, depending on what era you're in, you're going to have different answers for it as well too. Centre half back, Djakovic. You know what I mean? This is amazing. Some would say David Rees-Jones. Some would say David Dench at fullback. Some would say Steve Silvani at fullback.
Yep, and then you've got
No right
people.
or wrong answer to this. This is what I love about this great sport. Is it an opinion based?
And then you could have someone like Paul Roos. Fitzroy, legend. Yes, has won quite a few of those things in All-Australian back at Fitzroy. Premiership coach and All-Australian coach. So is he a GOAT considered?
Never won a flag as a player.
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting.
I don't know. What do you say about someone like Damien Hardwick? 3-time premiership coach, 2-time premiership player.
Never a Brownlow.
Never a Brownlow.
So can he be a GOAT in the midfield?
I don't know. I sometimes think that we put too much resemblance on, team accolades. I don't know. It's a tough one. It is really a tough one to try and work out. But I love that you brought it up because it is a talking point. And so what we'll do is have a look at some of the comments that come through and address those next week as well.
Yes. So on that, perhaps we'll talk about it in the show. Actually, you know what? We'll talk about it in the show. Okay, mate. Do you want to talk? What are we going to do now? Do you want to do? Is it fantail time? What are we going to do?
Oh, yeah, let's do fantail times. Jamie's fantail time, everybody. Everybody loves fantail time. It's just
Actually,
Yep.
before we do that, can I just say about the YouTube stuff? Is that all right?
Oh, yeah, and I've got 2 last things to do before we wrap up. One of them is what we roll out every single week, and I forgot to roll it out.
Oh.
Really quickly, Mac Andrew from the Gold Coast Suns is this week's rising star for round 20. Helped the Suns end a 9-game losing streak to Brisbane with a 41-point victory. Had 14 disposals, 7 marks, 3 in game high, 3 contested, and 6 intercept possessions. Picked 5 in the 2021 draft. He's actually been putting a bit of a run of good form after a difficult start off season at the start of the year as well. So is he going to win it? Probably not. But hey, you know what? He's got some kudos for the good win that they had on the weekend as well.
And it's good to see a top 5 pick actually start to convert some of this a little bit.
Yep. Jody to the draft, our boy Jacob Grant, last thing. No games at the moment for the Coates League. Finals are coming up. We'll give you a heads up with that as well too. A few people have been chasing it now. What's going on with the J-Boy? Like I said, if you saw his hanger he took in the Nationals, he's a chance.
Go find it on YouTube.
Over to you, superstar.
So, as we've sort of alluded to a couple of times on the show, I won't go into too much detail now, but we are on YouTube, so we would love it if you can go over to the Lace Out Podcast and give us a like and a subscribe and a bell.
Hey, you got the 3. I was hoping if we didn't forget the bell.
And leave your comments below, and it's a chance for you to also catch up and listen to us on the podcasts as well as to watching a live show. So if you ever want to go and see where we are, we've obviously got the Facebook site. We've obviously loved your comments in there, but if you do it on the YouTube channel, we will reply, we will read the comments, and we actually get notifications when things come through, and it gives us a chance to connect with our community a little bit better as opposed to Facebook, which not everyone will or has because they don't believe in the Zuckerberg machine.
Yep, like my wife.
So we are on there. So at the end of the show on Tuesdays, we'll be going to be putting this show up onto YouTube. So please go in there, leave your comments, and get involved in the chat. It's a fantail time.
Really quickly, J-Dog.
Yeah.
Ray lost 3 quick wickets.
Oh, great.
169 for 3. Need 215
shit.
runs in 87 overs. I think there is still a massive chance. Massive chance. I'll be great if we beat them.
Did Labuschagne just give his wicket away for nothing?
No, he gave it away for 13.
Good. All right, fantail time.
Fantail time.
Alrighty. Now, once again, because we are on YouTube, you can interact a bit more. We won't give you the answer away. You can just go onto YouTube and watch it and leave the answer. All right. My temptation, Peps, is to like eat this straight away, but because I got to read out the clue, I won't. I won't. But the temptation is so strong every time. Okay. Fantail time. Who am I? This. Oh. Okay. No, that's all right. I had to just check the answer. I had to do a QA on the answer before I read it out. It's going well. It's going well. This British series of spy films is based on a fictional MI6 agent from the book series written by Ian Fleming and one of the longest running film series in history, having been in production from 1962 until now. 6 actors have portrayed Agent 007 in the series, the latest being Daniel Craig. There have been 23 films including Dr. No, Goldfinger, Diamonds Are Forever, Moonraker, Casino Royale, Skyfall. In all 007 films has been always a clean-shaven except for stubble on 2 brief occasions. I am...
I was actually trying to figure out if there was going to be ever a question out of that or it was just a bio.
No, it's just basically a bio. Interesting. Ian Fleming, if just a bit of movie trivia here for you. There is a movie out at the moment on one of these streaming services that speaks about the decoy body that the British landed onto Nazi stores with a bunch of fake documents, which led to the D-Day success story. Ian Fleming was part of that team that put all that together. And if you don't, I can't remember the movie off the top of my head right now, Peps might be able to YouTube it, but it is an interesting watch. So Ian Fleming was part of that original team of the British intelligence to put that all together.
It is an absolute cracker called Operation Mincemeat.
There we go. Operation Mincemeat.
Get on it. Hey, who's going to be mincemeat in round 21, J-Dog? 1 week at a time. What games are you looking forward to?
I am looking forward to... You've dropped that on me too fast, Peps. My screen hasn't caught up.
All right, I'll go first. Western Bulldogs Richmond. I think whoever loses is out from a finals race. Adelaide Gold Coast will actually be pretty good based on what Gold Coast did last week. Can they do that away from Gold Coast as well too? Geelong Port. Jeez, I think that's more interesting for you, to be honest.
Yeah.
GWS Sydney. And I think St Kilda. I could even go as far as St Kilda Carlton. 320 Marvel Stadium on Sunday. I could even go as far as Fremantle Brisbane. Could you imagine if Brisbane drop another one?
Yeah, I'm going to say my interest is in the 2 final games on Sunday.
They are, aren't they? So if St Kilda get over Carlton, St Kilda keep their spot, and Carlton start to look a bit shaky again, and Brisbane, if they lose another one, they can't win the flag unless they finish top 4.
Definitely Brisbane, yes.
Definitely finish top 2. But what I will say, though, it's not just about finishing top 2 on the ladder. It's following the top 2 guys when it comes to AFL footy. J-Dog and Peps, part of Lace Out. For everybody joining us live, thank you very, very much. For everybody watching us for the first time on the YouTube, join, subscribe. We'll be back every single week. Hey, and if you've got some video ideas that you'd like to hear from us, shoot us a message, and we'd love to hear from you as well, too. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's your round 20 AFL review, Lace Out style. I'm your host, Chris Pepper, with the co-host with the most, Jamie the J-Dog Wallis. And as we finish off another gorgeous episode, J-Dog, it's simply one question I have to ask you. You might get it right this week. How do you want your footy?
I want to lace out.
Have a great week, listeners. Hope your team wins.
See you, listeners. Come that fan tone now.
Thanks for listening to the latest episode of Lace Out. Head over to iTunes and Spotify to subscribe, rate, and leave us a review. And remember, join us every single Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, on our Facebook page with yours truly, Christopher Pepper, and the co-host with the most, Jamie Wallis, giving you your footy how you want it. Lace Out.